Hello, my name is Waterlily716 or Sarah, and today I'm going to do a video on 8 hair myths that I really hate because I get a lot of comments in my videos as much, but sometimes people just post things in the comments section of my video. I'm just like, no, that is not right. Like, I don't know why that survives in the general hair knowledge, so I thought I would just get these off my chest and say the 8 hair myths, and then, yeah, explain each one. So, the first myth is that gel or hairspray and or mousse are bad for your hair. And this is so not true. I get lots of comments from people like, oh, isn't wearing that much product bad for your hair? I feel like my hair can't breathe. Hair without product must be healthier, da 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 da. And this is so not true because it's the only way this could be true is if the products have alcohol in them. The vast majority of hairsprays do have alcohol in them, so hairsprays can be kind of not healthy for your hair. And a lot of mousses have alcohol too, but there are also alcohol-free ones. Most gels don't have alcohol. I'd say the vast majority. Some of them do. But as long as it's an alcohol-free product, it's not going to be drying your hair. Even if it does have alcohol in it, it's just drying your hair out a little. It's not like damaging it. People have this idea that products are going to damage their hair, which isn't true. And, yeah. Gel is fine to wear in your hair. It's fine to keep in your hair for several days. As long as you are shampooing adequately if it's going to build up in your hair. Which a lot of gels that don't have waxes or silicones in them aren't going to build up on your hair. So, feel free to use all sorts of products on your hair because they are not going to hurt your hair. Things that hurt your hair are like heat, chemicals, that sort of thing. Okay, next myth. This is another myth about damage. And this is a myth that split ends can be mended. And this, the hair care companies, a lot of the big ones, tend to keep this myth going because they put out products that are called like split end menders or like mend damage fast. And to some degree, like damaged like follicles can be mended somewhat with protein. It can help make the hair a lot stronger, but the actual split ends in the hair, there is no physical way for those ends to go back together. It just doesn't happen. You can't put them back together. You can temporarily glue them back together, but you cannot put them back together. The only way to get rid of them is to cut them off, which I advise doing if you get split ends. So, you can't fix them. No matter how much people would like to believe this myth, you can't. Myth number 3 is that getting a haircut every so often, like every 6 to 8 weeks, is going to make your hair grow faster. And this is so completely false. I think there are very few things that can change the rate of hair growth that a person has, because it's different for each person, but cutting it definitely doesn't make it grow faster. First of all, your hair grows from the roots, so changing something at the ends isn't going to change something from the roots. And so the bottom line is that getting your hair cut will make it healthier, but it's not going to make it grow faster, especially because if you're taking length off your hair, you're just losing length. And I actually recommend, unless you're getting a lot of split ends because you're using a lot of heat on your hair, I actually recommend more like a 3-month period for haircuts, or even longer really, because that way you can retain more length. Because a lot of hairdressers, when you go in for a trim, tend to take off way more, so your hair is not going to retain more length if you continue to go in for haircuts very frequently. So, yeah. And the 4th hair myth is that hair needs shampoo to be clean, and this is just so not true. This is a huge part of my channel, but a lot of people seem to think it's really gross that I don't use shampoo very often, but it's not gross. There are a lot of areas of our body actually that can just be cleaned with water, and I use conditioner to clean my hair, so I'm using something, and conditioner does have cleansing elements in it. So yeah, all the shampoo does is remove oil from your hair. That's really all it does. And if you don't get oily hair, there's no reason that you need to shampoo. Just take my word on it, you don't need to shampoo to have clean hair. Unless you are using products that have really that are not going to be water soluble and they're not going to be rinsed out by conditioner, then you probably need a shampoo to get rid of the buildup. But the best way to clean your hair with either a shampoo or conditioner is to use your finger pads to really scrub your scalp, and that's going to get rid of anything on your scalp. It's really the motion, not the product, that's cleaning your hair. Like if you're cleaning your body and like you just kind of rub soap all over you, yeah, you're going to smell nice, but if you really want to get rid of dead skin and stuff, you have to exfoliate, you have to scrub. So. And then along with that, another myth that I hear sometimes is something like putting conditioner on your scalp is bad for it, it's gonna like clog your pores or something, or it's gonna make you lose hair, and too much conditioner up there is bad for you. I think this comes from the idea maybe that people get told a lot of time to go from like the ears down with conditioner, but for people with curly hair and people with non-oily scalps, it's not really a problem to put conditioner up there. They wouldn't make conditioner as a thing that you put on your hair if it was going to cause your hair to fall out. And I've been using tons of conditioner on my scalp for ages, for years, and my hair is still just as thick. Since we're still talking about the scalp, one thing that people really don't understand, and I guess because they're really similar, is that dandruff and dry scalp are not the same thing, and you also don't treat them the same way. I have a whole video about this. But dandruff is an infection of the scalp. It should be green or yellowish flakes. It's an infection, not so great. Dry scalp, which I think is probably more common, is when you just have a dry, white, flaky scalp, which for people with dry skin, like I get this a lot, it's just something that's kind of unavoidable. And dandruff medicines are not going to work for dry scalp because it's not the same thing. Dry scalp needs not to be cleansed a lot with shampoo. It just needs to be exfoliated with your fingers to get rid of it, and you may want to actually moisturize your scalp, which I know is a foreign concept for a lot of people, but just the idea that dandruff and dry scalp are not synonymous concepts or problems. One other myth that is really wrong is that your hair needs to be brushed 100 times a day to make it healthy. And this is really not true because brushing can actually cause a lot of damage. Even if you're brushing gently and detangling your hair gently, you usually cause some kind of damage. So you really shouldn't go for 100 strokes of hair of brushing. So yeah, I think that one's pretty self-explanatory because when you run a brush through the hair, you're inevitably pulling at the hair. It's normal to lose 100 hairs a day, by the way. Some people seem to think that if they lose hair in the shower that they're losing hair from their scalp and everything is falling out, but you don't have hair loss unless the actual width of your hair is decreasing. But that's a little off topic, but brush your hair as much as it needs it, but don't overbrush it. I feel like is a myth, but it's not verbalized very often, because I get questions about people and they're like, my hair changed and it used to be this way, and I wish it was that way again, or maybe they like it more even, but just the idea that their hair changed, they're just like, how did this happen? Like, people just seem generally surprised when they have a change in hair texture. So I think there's sort of a myth floating around that your hair texture stays the same throughout your entire lifetime, which is just not true, again. Because your hair, supposedly, I've heard that it changes every 7 years in hair texture. It changes when you go through puberty. It may change during other life events, but your hair changes. So this is just a thing to keep in mind, that your hair is not always going to stay exactly the same, and you may have to change your hair care routine because of that. So, those are my 8 hair myths. Feel free to disagree or agree below in the comments, and leave any of hair myths that you think are wrong as well below. I'd love to hear what y'all have to say. Thanks so much for watching, and